So, some quick thoughts on chasing after your purpose in the midst of discouragement. Sometimes not having that purpose or your path fully in clear view, but recognizing and identifying snapshots and glimpses of what you bring when you're chasing after a purpose. And as a believer in Christ, I know that I'm called to point people back to Jesus. And so in chasing purpose, I believe in a continuous forward momentum, even if it's just baby steps, one step in front of the other. And I know what I bring to the table is empowerment and encouragement to people. Even in the midst of my own discouragement, I have the eyes to see people and their potential and who they are and what they bring. So even in the midst of your own discouragement, it's about calling out greatness in others and being obedient to the things that God has called you to be obedient to. And I believe that, and continue to move forward and believe that God will lead and direct your steps, that in your obedience, chasing after God, you will find your purpose, and you will bring joy to all of those around you, and empowerment and possibility.
Good afternoon, good to talk to you today. I just want to talk about chasing purpose here for a second. Lots of times I felt like what I was taught in school was actually kind of the opposite of the way it's supposed to really go when it comes to purpose, when it comes to what you're chasing in life, what you were designed to bring. So in school they always taught me, hey, you need to go to college, you need to make good grades, fill in the right bubbles with the number 2 pencil to make the best grades so you can get into the best college, so you can get a job making lots of money. But in life, what I've realized is it's completely opposite. If you don't have that why, that thing that you're going for, if you don't know what your purpose is, there's no reason for college or anything else. So first, what we think about is, what is your why? What are you passionate about? What do you love to do? What you love to do and what you're good at is something that only you can fulfill. And once you find out what that is, then I believe you need to find the right people to surround yourself with, the right people that are in that industry or that are good at those things already, or that can help you and encourage you along the way. So finding the right people after you find your purpose, then lastly, after that, you find out your what, and that's what your next step is. So you find your purpose, you find the right people to hang out with, to glean from, to do life with, and thirdly, you find your what, and that's what your next step is. Now, your next step might be going to college to pursue that, or it might be it might be going to trade school. It might be simply learning from someone else. It might be starting your own thing from scratch completely. But never let anyone trip you up thinking that, if you're going to be successful, you're going to have a degree, you have to make $150,000 a year. You know what? Don't despise small beginnings. It might start and look like something small. You might be the only one even pursuing what you're doing, and there's no one even with you anymore. But God has already gone before you and prepared the way. That's why He put a purpose in your heart, and that's why you're driven for that. So anyway, I just want to share that with you. Thanks.
So that was Matt Gideon, who is a fitness coach and trainer, and April Gideon, who is a CrossFit coach at CrossFit Templum in Carrollton. And so we've been talking a lot about chase purpose, and most of you have seen me hashtag chase purpose in so many different times and different posts and different things that I've been sharing. But I was asked recently, so why are you hashtagging chase purpose, and what does that mean to you? And so I have I would say a simple definition or a simple explanation to what that means to me. But I would summarize it by saying that chase purpose is more of a marathon rather than a sprint. Because when we think about running and we think about chasing, we think about, going really fast. But chase purpose is really more about momentum. It's about chasing something that means a lot to you, chasing your purpose, absolutely. But it's about pacing yourself. And so I want to put it I want to frame it this way. It's the best way that I can explain it to you. So a couple of years ago, I started running. I started doing races, and I was so excited. This was something, new to my life. And I remember that, and I've been blessed with amazing coaches, but I remember that I would take my pre-workout, and as soon as, the gun went off, I just took off. And I hadn't even done a mile yet, and I was already burnt out and out of breath. And, so one of my running coaches talked to me and said, Diana, you really just need to pace yourself. You need to find your rhythm, and you need to find what your pace is. And it's not about you taking off and going really fast. It's about endurance. And I'll tell you that stayed on my mind. And so I had a race in McKinney, and McKinney has some hills. They're not huge hills, but they're hills, and they're hard to run. And so I remember facing one of those hills, and I remembered the words of my running coach. And so I just put my headset on, and I focused on the pavement. I did not look up to the hill, and I did not look to the people who were running beside me, to my right or to my left. And I didn't look at anyone that was passing me by. And if there's anything that you can take away from this, is I did not look at anyone that was passing me by or running faster than I was. I focused on my rhythm and my pace, and I kept at it. And before I knew it, I had finished that race. And so the lesson that I've learned from that, and that I want to share with you, is that when it comes to chasing purpose, it's so important for us to stay in our own lane. It's so important for us to stay in our own gifting, for us to stay in our own, the resources that we have. It's so important to stay on the assignment that God has given us. We may see people running past us on our right-hand side. We may see people prospering in their career. We may see people smiling in their marriage. We may see people doing other things, but that's their rhythm. We need to stay in our lane and know what our season is and find what our pace is. And sometimes we're so busy looking at how quickly someone else gains something else or what someone else is doing that we may lose our own momentum. And if you picture yourself in a race, if I start looking to my right or I even start looking behind, I'm going to trip. And not only am I going to trip, everyone behind me is going to trip as well. And so it's so important to stay focused on where you're headed, staying in your lane and finding your rhythm, find your pace. And this again is a great big lesson, because we live in a society right now that we want everything. We don't even want anything today. We want it yesterday. We want to, punch in a few buttons like we do the microwave. We want our promises, our purpose, our goals. We want everything now. We want everything to be instant, and not everything in our life is going to happen that way, especially when it comes to a full plan. God's timeline is so different from ours. When we feel we want to do something and we want to go and start a new business, we want the business to grow overnight. And to be honest with you, we need to really pace ourselves, and we need to work, and we need to put in the work. We need to know what our rhythm is. We need to know what our grace and what our favor is. And so with that said, some of you may say, well, and I have clients that have come to me looking for life coaching. And that's what I do. I just help others navigate, hardship, or I help them navigate uncertainty, and I help them navigate those moments when you really can't find what your purpose is. So I've had a few clients say, but I don't know my purpose. I don't know what it is. And so it's very important, to start with finding your purpose. Know what it is. What is it that lights you up? What is it that, sets your heart on fire? What is it that you feel that you want to do? What is a goal that you have? What is it that you've dreamt of that you've almost given up because you're not getting there quick enough, like maybe the people running to your left, or maybe the people, left or to your right? What is it? What is it that you so much want to accomplish? And so lately I've been, hashtag purpose, because sometimes the process isn't always the way we want it to be. Sometimes the process is a little harder or a little bit longer than we expect. But once you hit it and once you get there, there's no greater joy than to know that you are in your lane, that you are in your gifting, that you're walking in the things that God has called you to do. So what is it going to take for you to chase your purpose? What changes do you need to create in your life for you to align? And I'm gonna close with this thought. I know you've heard a great thought from Matt. That was exceptional. We could have left it right there. And also, you know, April, how transparent she was by sharing her struggle. But, you know, I want to ask you a question and say, what will it take? You know, what are the things that you need to minimize in your life? You know, there's sometimes it's not a matter of having more. And this is really a great gem to drop on you right now. Sometimes it's not about having more. Sometimes it's about having less. And sometimes it's about reassessing, taking a step back and saying, what is it that I really want to do? And I recall last year I was doing a run in California. I was out in Anaheim, and I was just running and doing it wasn't a race, it was just a run. And I was out there, and it was just, I had a download, and it was about, you know, equalizing voices. And there's times in our life when we're pursuing purpose, when we're doing our life, that we need to lower the volume on certain voices. You know, and I don't want to get too long-winded on social media and social media platforms and Facebook and Instagram and all of these things, because for me, they're great platforms. I'm on DSTV right now, and I think that social media is a great venue to reach people. But at the same time, if that's the only thing you're listening to, if those are the only voices you hear, if those are the louder voices in your life, you may not know how to get to your purpose because you're hearing something different every single day. One person will say, sit back. The other one will say, keep going forward. Another person will, we can't live that way. We need to take the time to assess, what has God given me? And spend time with Him and say, what is my assignment? What is it that I'm good at? Because there's something that I could do that maybe someone else cannot do. And there's other things that other people do greatly that I could never even attempt because that's not my gifting and it's certainly not my purpose. And so again, today I want to ask you, what is it going to take? What is it that you're willing to do? And so if you're going through a difficult time and a time of uncertainty and you're not quite sure what you want to do, write us a note. I would love to hear from you. You can look us up at DianaToday.com. You can also write to me at info@DianaToday.com. But we would love to help you. We have, you know, whether it be a health and wellness issue, sometimes we have quite a few coaches on our team. I've been aligned with a few professionals that will help you with your career as well. Whatever it is, there are resources that can help you. And I'm here to help you navigate those things. And maybe it's just a season of uncertainty. And again, you know, it's a matter of making decisions or assessing what is it that you really want. So I want to thank you for tuning in and allowing me to share this #Chase Purpose season of my life and what it means and what it could mean to you if you make a decision to really chase purpose with all of your heart. So tune in again to Let's Talk Life with Diana today here on DSTV, and we will be chatting soon.